Hi. I was planning to talk about something else today, but my cat walked in the room, and as you know, if you've been following my blog, she's very sick right now and is dying. Probably has days, maybe a week or two left. So it's very much on my mind, the process of death and dying, and what a creature, any creature on this planet goes through as they're dying and how it affects everybody around them. I wrote about this last week, and I'll be writing about it again this week. One of the things that I didn't say, which has become crystallized for me, is that there is a process of dying. It's a transition, just like every other transition. Many spiritual traditions would say it's one of the two most powerful transitions we go through, birth being the other one, meaning that there's the most potential for growth in the dying process. I'm not sure if this applies to a cat or to animals. I would think it does. What I do know is that animals are our teachers. They're our gifts. They're angels to us in many ways. If any of you have an animal that is close to your heart, then you know very well what an animal can come to mean to us and how much they teach us. And as I'm watching Mocha go through her dying process, and I'm seeing the way that it affects myself, of course, and my husband, but primarily my oldest son, Everest, and seeing how much he's learning about life through her dying. And I see again what a wonderful teacher Mocha is, as she's always been for Everest. It is hard. He doesn't like to talk about it. Everest is an extremely sensitive boy and has a very hard time talking about things that are sad. So when we try to talk about it, he immediately covers up his ears and says, I don't want to talk about it. But I can see how much he is learning and growing through her dying process, that he's learning about compassion, that he's learning about death, and what a difficult subject it is, that nobody likes to talk about it and nobody likes to think about it, but it exists every day in front of us in a variety of forms. One of the core principles of transitions that I talk about is that there is a necessary dying in order for the rebirth to happen. There is a dying of the single self in order for the married self to be born. There's a dying of the non-mother or non-father self in order for the mother or father identity to be born. We don't like to think of things in terms of dying or in terms of death. It's a hard word to hear, it's a hard word to say, but it's happening for us every day, at least metaphorically, and sometimes literally. It is a fact of life on this earth. So as I'm watching Mocha go through this process and I'm hearing people's reactions around me, some would certainly say it's time for her to go and it's time to put her out of her suffering. As I'm trying to determine what is the right choice, I haven't made that choice yet. It hasn't felt right to end her life for her. She has a lot of life in her, and my friend Lisa said something to me the other day. She worked in hospice for many years along these lines. She was reminding me of a woman named Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who wrote about death and dying and brought language and context to us around this transition. She talked about the 5 stages of grief, and one of the things she said is that even if it's not apparent to us in the dying process, the soul has work to do. And this phrase hit home for me. The soul has work to do. Does Mocha's soul have work to do? I think so. But I do know that when a human soul is going through a dying process, that person has work to do, even if it's not readily apparent to us. As Lisa said to me, even if they're in a vegetative state, even if they're experiencing dementia, they can't remember anything or very many things. It's very painful for us to witness that. It is so painful to watch Mocha go through this sometimes. Other times it's not painful at all. She's like her old self. But there is a dying process and the soul has work to do. Just like in my belief system, in my worldview, around every transition, the soul has work to do. So why would it be any different around death? If you know someone who's in the dying process and you think this video might be helpful to them, please pass it on. I'm certainly not an expert in death or dying the way that I am around the wedding or getting married or moving or a multitude of other transitions. thankfully I haven't been exposed to it, and obviously I won't know it firsthand until I'm going through it. But Mocha, once again, has been a wonderful teacher in this area, and I wanted to share what I've been learning